this is Karen.
Hi, everybody. Bonjour. I am Shane. Today we are looking at part 2 of Rouen,
France's jewel on the Seine. And the vocabulary words are striking.
Striking.
The striking beauty of the area made it a great place to take photographs.
Collection.
Collection.
My uncle has a huge baseball card collection.
Former.
Former.
Many former students of the school have gone on to be quite successful.
Ceramic.
Ceramic.
Hannah started taking a ceramics class last month and is enjoying it so far.
Nice. Charming.
Charming.
We drank coffee at a charming cafe on top of a mountain. So we're still talking about France's jewel on the Seine.
Yeah, you don't like saying French words, do you?
I don't.
I notice you don't want to say Rouen.
Rouen?
Rouen.
Rouen. Does it sound a little more French?
Yeah.
Rouen?
Rouen.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about the cathedrals last time. We talked about one cathedral that Monet liked to paint. But there's lots of cathedrals there that are really beautiful to take a look at. There's also the Church of St. Joan of Arc.
That's right. And then that's actually shaped like a boat, but I saw the pictures of it. I don't really see a boat,
I don't see a boat either, but they have very beautiful stained glass inside that church. So that's really impressive.
Beautiful, beautiful stained glass windows. And
breathtaking.
That's right. And if you like museums, though, it's also a great idea to visit Rouen because it's got a Museum of Fine Arts.
Oh, yeah, and you can see some Monet or Degas or Renoir. So if you're an art fan, there's lots of great painters there, right?
You can even visit the Museum of Ceramics while you're there.
So there's lots of culture and lots of beautiful things to see there and even good food.
You're right.
Yeah, so it sounds like if you're going to France, this should definitely be on your list.
Okay, so let's go.
Rouen, France's jewel on the Seine.
Rouen is also home to many striking cathedrals. The most famous of these is Notre Dame Cathedral of Rouen, the subject of painter Claude Monet's Rouen Cathedral series. Monet painted over 30 paintings of the church between 1892 and 1894, which showed the ways that different lighting conditions influence our perception of an object.
Today's lesson is called Rouen, France's jewel on the Seine. Part 2. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Mike, and we're visiting Rouen, the great city of Normandy, out there in the western part of France, not far from Paris, on the same river Seine, but much older in many ways. You can go to the medieval quarter, see the big clock, also known as the Gros Horloge, have some wonderful food at a little inn, the oldest inn in France, La Couronne, where they've been making great duck for many, many years, and we're having a pretty good time so far, I'd have to say. So we've seen some pretty cool stuff and had some delicious food.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's going to get better. Get this, everybody. Rouen?
Yes.
It's got cathedrals.
Cathedrals.
Galore. Rouen is also home to many striking cathedrals.
Many?
Many. And
Wow.
yes, cathedrals, by the way, are really big, lavish churches. I believe that if you're a Catholic, if like the bishop of your diocese works at a church, that church is called a cathedral. But for the most part, when people talk about cathedrals, they're just talking about really big, fancy churches.
Yeah, like Notre Dame in Paris, that big cathedral that had that terrible fire last year. St. Paul's Cathedral with the big dome in the middle of London. Big, impressive churches. And when something is big and impressive, we often describe it as striking, right? It's the kind of thing that you see it with your eyes and your brain goes, wow! And then your memory goes, I'm not going to forget that because it made me go, wow, in a way that I don't normally go, wow, because it was so striking. For example, the striking beauty of the area made it a great place to take photographs. If you haven't been there, you've probably seen pictures because it is so impressive, so striking, so memorable, so wonderful for your eyes. So there we are. We're in Rouen. Remember, kings used to live here. So I guess it makes sense they have a lot of cathedrals. Which is the most famous one? It says the most famous of these is Notre Dame Cathedral of Rouen, the subject of painter Claude Monet's Rouen Cathedral series.
Which we mentioned last time. And you also mentioned Notre Dame in Paris. There's also a Notre Dame there in Rouen. And this makes sense. Notre Dame, Our Lady, our Mother. Anyways, Monet. We're talking about the Rouen Cathedral series that he painted. Monet painted over 30 paintings of the church between 1892 and 1894, which showed the ways that different lighting conditions influence our perception of an object. Yes, he came back to this cathedral over and over and over again, painted it many different times when the light was different. Monet did this type of stuff. He was really into light.
Okay, morning, afternoon, evening, summer, fall, winter light, all of this kind of stuff. I'm sure you can find these paintings very easily on the internet. So if you're into art or just want to see some good paintings of this great cathedral, check it out. We'll take a break and then we'll be back with more from Rouen.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们在第一天的课文介绍了卢昂的中世纪区，我们吃了鸭肉，看了大钟楼，那还有什么景点是必去的呢？好，课文写到，卢昂拥有许多引人注目的大教堂，其中最著名的是卢昂圣母大教堂。那么画家莫内在1892年到1894年期间画了30多幅这座教堂的画。那这一系列的画就呈现出不同的光照条件下卢昂大教堂的各种面貌。好，先来看单字 striking。striking 可以形容是引人注目的或是显著的。那么文中用到 cathedral， 它就表示大教堂或是主教座堂。我们顺便学一下 bishop 是指主教 B-I-S-H-O-P bishop。那么老师还有提到这个 diocese D-I-O-C-E-S-E， 好，这个字是表示教区或是主教辖区。那么大教堂看起来就很像是豪华版的教堂，有的会有圆顶的设计。老师们用到 lavish L-A-V-I-S-H lavish 是形容奢华的、铺张的，还有用到 dome D-O-M-E dome 表示圆屋顶或是穹顶建筑。另外 Jeff 老师刚刚还用到这个 galore 这个字来描述卢昂有非常多的大教堂。那么 galore 就表示大量的，它的用法是要摆在名词后面。那这个字是拼作 G-A-L-O-R-E galore。接回课文中。
Rouen, France's jewel on the Seine.
Fans of history can visit the Church of St. Joan of Arc, where in 1431, English soldiers burned St. Joan at the stake during the 100 Years' War. This boat-shaped church is known for its 16th century stained glass windows, which link the building's modern look to the days of old.
Okay, remember that the history of Rouen goes way back, even to Roman times. So it makes sense that this place is filled with history. And let's say you are a history nut. You are going to love Rouen. Yeah, fans of history can visit the Church of St. Joan of Arc, where in 1431 English soldiers burned St. Joan at the stake during the 100 Years' War. Yeah, poor Joan did not come to a good end there.
No, well, they thought she was a witch, or at least called her a witch. And, of course, back in those days, when you had a witch, you had to burn her. We're not saying this is what we would do today, of course, but this is what they did back in 1431. So, yeah, a bit of history there. And also the Church of St. Joan of Arc, is worth visiting, too, just for itself. It says this boat-shaped church is known for its 16th century stained glass windows, which link the building's modern look to the days of old. So it's got this unique boat shape that most churches, of course, don't have. And of course, like many churches, especially these older ones, these stained glass windows are also definitely worth checking out, and maybe a photograph or two. Stained glass, of course, is when they use colored pieces of glass to sort of make paintings in the window. And of course, the light comes through. Oh, it's
beautiful.
Absolutely magnificent.
It's beautiful.
Very striking.
It's very, very striking. All right, folks, with that, it's time for another break. But don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
同学们是热爱历史的人吗？如果你是历史迷，可以去参观圣女贞德教堂。这个地方就是在百年战争期间，英军把圣女贞德烧死在火刑柱上的地方。而这座船形教堂呢，是以16世纪的彩色玻璃窗而闻名。好，文中的 stained glass 就是指彩色玻璃。那刚刚教辅老师用到 a history nut 来指历史迷，其中这个 nut N-U-T 它可以用来指疯子，或是对什么什么很热衷的人，什么什么的迷。其实我们可以用 a history buff 来指历史迷，这个其中的 buff B-U-F-F 它也可以用来表达爱好者啊、行家或是迷的意思。介华课文中
Rouen, France's jewel on the Seine.
If museums are your thing, you're in luck. The Museum of Fine Arts of Rouen has a huge collection of paintings including works by Monet, Renoir, Sisley, and Degas. There's also the Musée Le Sec des Tournelles, a former church that now houses all sorts of amazing wrought iron pieces. Lastly, the Museum of Ceramics celebrates Rouen's past as a producer of fine French ceramics. Whatever you decide to do here, Rouen is one of France's most charming cities, so make sure you include it on your travel bucket list.
Okay, if you're a history nut, Rouen has something for you. If you're an art nut, Rouen also has something for you as well. Yes, if you are an art nut, if museums are your thing, you're in luck.
Absolutely. We talked about how it's a home of culture, and museums are a great place to experience some of that culture. Let's look at what we're going to check out at the Museum of Fine Arts. It says the Museum of Fine Arts of Rouen has a huge collection of paintings, including works by Monet, Renoir, Sisley, and Degas, to name just a few.
Wow. I'm actually a fan of Degas. The other three are so-so, not too bad, but hey, Degas, my favorite. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this word collection. We're talking about a collection of things. We're talking about a group of similar things. Okay, so here we've got this Museum of Fine Arts. They've got a huge collection of paintings. They have a lot of paintings there, a big set, a big group of paintings, a huge collection. For example, my uncle has a huge baseball card collection.
Now let's check out another museum with a more unusual collection of stuff. It says there's also the Musée Le Sec des Tournelles, a former church that now houses all sorts of amazing wrought iron pieces.
Wow.
So we're talking art, but we're not talking paintings or stuff like that. We're talking about iron. Things that people make out of iron. But we're not talking about pots and pans or ships or bridges. We're talking about art that's made out of iron. So they take iron, they bend it, they shape it, and then they make it into beautiful designs. I have no idea what's in this church, but I'm definitely going to look it up on Google, because wrought iron art, it's kind of an unusual little area of art. Now, this museum is a museum now, but we're told that it's a former church. So this gives you an idea. If you're looking for the museum, look for something that looks like a church, because it was a church before. That's what former means. It's kind of like a previous something in its past existence before it was changed to something else. Now it is this, former that. Formerly, we could use as an adverb, or a former da-da-da. It used to be that thing. For example, many former students of the school have gone on to be quite successful. They used to be students, now they're something else, but in the past, they went to the school.
Okay, now there's more. Lastly,
yes,
the Museum of Ceramics celebrates Rouen's past as a producer of fine French ceramics.
Maybe back in the medieval times.
There you go. Now, when I think of ceramics,
Yeah.
I think of things that are made out of clay that gets baked. Pots. You make them out of clay, it's wet, and then you go ahead and you put it in a kiln, you bake it, and it becomes hard. Cups, bowls, vases, hey, they're made out of ceramic or ceramics, you can say. For example, Hannah started taking a ceramics class last month and is enjoying it so far. Yes, she's made a bowl, she'll make a plate next time.
Interesting. It'll be very pretty and also useful too. So, whatever you decide to do here, Rouen is one of France's most charming cities, so make sure you include it on your travel bucket list. Absolutely. If you're going to take the trouble to go all the way to France, why not take that short little train trip out to Rouen, spend a day or two there. You won't regret it. It is a charming place in a charming part of a charming country. What is charming? This adjective means it's attractive, maybe in a cute kind of way. It's appealing. It's something people like. Maybe they can't tell you exactly why, but they're just like, I like that thing. Cartoon characters might be charming. Your friends might be charming. A cute little coffee shop or an inn in the country might be charming. We're not talking about impressive or striking. We're talking about kind of attractive in a smaller, cuter, more special way. For example, we drank coffee at a charming cafe on top of a mountain.
All right, that's the end of our article on Rouen, but we still have to ask and then answer the what do you think question. Mike, what are some ways that Rouen is different from your hometown? Or is Rouen similar to your hometown in any way?
Interesting question. Well, my hometown is kind of like Rouen because I'm from Montreal, especially in the area called Old Montreal, which is the old part of the city. We have, some older buildings, maybe not from medieval times, but from certainly 400, 500 years ago. So I guess there would be parts of my hometown of Montreal that would look like Rouen.
Cool. How nice. How interesting. All right, folks, with that, our lesson has now come to a close, and it's time for us to say bye-bye.
Au revoir.
好，课文接着介绍了3间博物馆。第一个是卢昂美术馆，它有大量的画作收藏。第二个是铁艺博物馆，那它以前是一座教堂，现在则是收藏了各式各样的锻铁作品。第三个是陶瓷博物馆，它也很值得参观哦。毕竟卢昂以前是法国高级陶瓷的生产地。如果你特别喜欢参观博物馆，相信这座城市不会让你失望的。课文最后就写到说，无论你决定要在这里做什么，卢昂都是法国最迷人的城市之一，因此呢，务必要把它包含在你一生一定要去、一生必去的旅游清单里面。我们来看4个单字 ：collection。它表示收藏品，也可以用来表达一堆、一群东西。我们常常会用 a collection of something 来表示。那 collection 的前面可以加形容词。再来看 former 是形容昔日的、以前的、原先的。那么 ceramic 是名词，表示陶瓷制品。当这意思来解释时呢，常常会用复数形 ceramics 来表达。Travel 在解释单字时用到 kiln， 这个字是拼作 K-I-L-N kiln， 它这个字表示窑，就是用来烧制陶瓷等等器具的那个窑。好，再来看 charming 是指迷人的，有一个意思相近的字是 appealing， A-P-P-E-A-L-I-N-G， appealing 是形容迷人的、有吸引力的。那我们最后来看5个重点，第一个是 be somebody's thing， 表示某人特别喜欢、特别想做的事。例如 Running is not my thing， 我对跑步没兴趣，我没有喜欢跑步。好，第二重点是 in luck， 表示运气好或是走运。例如 You're in luck, we still have a few tickets left。 你运气不错，我们还有剩几张门票哦。第3个重点是 whatever， 它表示无论什么、不管什么，在这边就相当于 no matter what， 用来引导副词子句。例如Whatever you say, I won't change my mind。 也可以说 No matter what you say, I won't change my mind。 不管你说什么，我都不会改变心意的。第4个重点 make sure 在这边表达确保 或者是务必使什么发生，确保有做某事。好，那么后面常常会接 that 子句，这个 that 可以省略不用。例如 Please make sure that the front door is locked， 或者是 Please make sure the front door is locked， 请确保前门有锁上。第5个重点，Bucket list 表示在有生之年一定要完成的事，或是指人生的目标清单。那这个用语是源自于 kick the bucket， 这个用语表示死亡或是过世。好，例如 Visiting Iceland is on my bucket list， 造访冰岛在我愿望清单里，希望有生之年可以有机会去冰岛玩。好，那么以上是这些讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。
Hello， 各位同学，大家好，我是建安老师。我们来看一下今天简短独白。我们今天要看的是 instruction，OK， 指示或者是说明。那常见的考点呢，跟之前的是一样，就是说讲这段话的人是谁，这个你要知道。然后呢，因为它是指示或说明嘛，所以它会讲很多就是要注意的事项。那讲完之后，他就会提醒说，好 ，call to action， 接下来我们要做什么事情。OK， 那接下来要做什么事情呢？通常会是一种 reminder 的形式啊，记得有一件事情你们要注意哦。好，所以有这种 please， 或者是呢 let's 干嘛干嘛 ，don't forget to do something，be sure to do something， 或者是呢 remember to do something 这种提醒的，通常就是会是接下来要做什么的答案。OK， 好。我们来看一下 Who is the speaker？ 你有没有发现，几乎每一种类型的题目都有这个讲话的人是谁哦？所以呢，你听的时候，脑中就要问自己这样的一个问题哦。我们在阅读的时候，其实也是要一模一样的这种做法，就是说你在看文章的时候，你必须要内心一直问自己问题，就是说，这个人是谁？他为什么要这样做？发生的地点是什么？背后的原因，这些都是你要自己去问自己。那记得，你只要问自己，你的大脑就会去找答案。OK， 所以呢 ，Who is the speaker？ 讲话的人是谁啊 ？Documentary filmmaker， 纪录片的这个拍摄影片的人啊。B 呢 ，an orientation trainer。orientation 呢是新生训练、新兵训练、新进员工训练啊，因为Orient 它是东方的意思那个时候大航海时代，大家要找方向，就是要找到往东就是远东在哪里所以他们就开出去了，船开出去之后呢，没有到达这个远东地区，到达了这个美洲去了。OK，C a guest at a hotel， 最后a new employee at a company。第二题 ，What will they do after the Q&A session？OK，Q&A 之后会干嘛？所以呢，等一下要注意一下 Q&A 之后会干嘛哦。再来 ，A，discuss the origins of the hotel， 还是 B，share experiences with senior staff， 跟资深员工讲一下这个经验。C 呢 ，have lunch in the break area， 最后 have watch a film。OK， 来看一下影片。最后一题 ，What will happen last？最后会发生什么事情 ？A film will be shown. A senior staff member will share tips. 还是 the founder of the hotel will speak. 还是呢 employees will walk around the hotel. 我们来听听看才会知道。
Good morning. I'm Ariel Schwartz, your trainer for the day. Today, you're going to learn how to provide the best care to our hotel guests.
OK， 所以这样你应该很清楚了，对不对？他是谁？他是 trainer。那听的人是谁？这个你要知道，就是这个旅馆的员工，对不对？再听一下。
Today, you're going to learn how to provide the best care to our hotel guests.
Best care to our hotel guests。所以第一题这样就出来了嘛，哈。好，接下来我就不打扰各位了。
We will start with a short film that introduces the origins of the hotel, which includes a brief talk from our founder, Mr. Nielsen. Next, several senior staff members will talk about their experience here and share invaluable tips.
是不是都没有重点？所以呢，你在听这种独白的时候，因为它很长，但是重点只会有几个地方。那在没有考点的时候呢，你可以听，但是就不用那么紧张 ，OK？After
that, there will be a Q&A session, and you can ask any questions you may have then. This session will be followed by lunch in our employee break area.
The session will be followed， 因为他刚刚讲 Q&A 了嘛。The session will be followed by lunch。所以第二题答案是 C。
You can relax and mingle freely with your future coworkers. And finally, we will end the day with a tour of the hotel.
好 ，tour of the hotel， 所以呢，就是要去参访整个旅馆喽。
You will have the chance to browse through all its facilities and luxurious rooms.
Browse all the facilities and luxurious rooms， 所以去看一下所有旅馆的这些设施哦。所以这3题呢是 B， 然后呢这个是 C。D B C D，OK， 好，我们看一下这边啊，你看呢，他说 best care to a hotel guest， 这样你就知道了 ，OK， 然后呢，他说他是 trainer for the day， 那这边这些内容其实都像是这个员工训练哦，一开始新进员工，那这边就没有重点，直到这边 after that there will be a QA session and you can ask questions， 然后呢 will be followed by lunch in our employee break area。OK， 好，然后这边 and finally 这边是一个转折语，对不对？最后呢 ，we will end the day with a tour of the hotel。所以第3题的答案就跑出来了。以上是我们今天的课程内容，我是季安老师，我们下堂课见，拜拜。
See you next time.